Orchid was the first one to jump into the video chat on Skype, and the way that I have the screen laid out for the overlay is Skype can't make up its mind whether it's going to show everyone in the video chat or it's not going to show anybody except for people who have videos. And today it decided it's going to show everyone, which meant that until you guys joined, it was literally my face on the monitor up on top. But on the overlay, it's like literally it was like this like weird like face behind my camera face. And so I was just like sitting there making these weird faces, and Orchid jumps in and she's like, hi.
He's just like,
I'm like,
why are you the way you are sometimes? I really wonder.
Listen,
like,
when I can make myself a video echo.
It's like looking into a mirror and just seeing so many of you.
Yeah. The infinite mirrors.
Oh,
yeah.
God, I made that mistake. That was like one of the first things you do when you open up Streamlabs and you're like, all right, we're going to do a window capture. And you inadvertently, without fail, put the window capture on the window with Streamlabs. And it's like, my brain is broken. Like, it's just like, I'm like, oh, God, look away. I feel like I'm becoming the master. It's like,
it's a train wreck. You can't look away.
And thank you for giving us your entire paycheck for 44 months.
Oh, that's... Wait, yeah. I need to... Do I not have StreamBot? Oh, no! Pins, I failed you. Hang on, let me fix that. Where is that? Is that a...
Jeez.
Yeah.
Stream Boss, there it is.
Green, I dyed my hair this color in your honor.
Center of the screen. Let's just put pins front and center.
Hi, Dan.
Oh, see, I figured right over my face. That would work.
Yeah, just do it right over Alma's face.
I can't get the full health bar if we put it over Elements.
Over my eyes, then. Instead of looking two different ways, I can just green bar it.
I'll just sit like this. Give you a little bit of extra room.
Where can we put?
I see what you're doing.
Where can we put the stream
flag? Do you see what I put up with? You can make it smaller, you know that,
I know.
Right?
Listen.
Do you know how to stream?
No, I don't. This is why I shouldn't
be
allowed to stream.
Jay, apparently your audio is really low.
That's because I got yelled at by Green to lower my audio.
She's telling me that your audio is low.
Wait, Green is telling you the audio is low?
Yeah.
I can't please people.
Thank you. See, Cordell, this is what happens. At least I wasn't left behind this time. It's because Maddie's not here to forget me, leave me to die.
That sounds like there's a story involved.
I didn't start this time, Black Flag. This is not me. I'm just watching as a bystander. Tens, thank you for the bits. That's a lot of bits. I appreciate it. Theru, hi. How are you doing?
Give me the bits.
Apparently,
like
she messaged you too.
She
messaged me? I didn't start anything. Yeah.
Your audio is low. Stream died. Hang on. Oh gosh, there's so many messages. Audio boosted in OBS.
Professionals.
professional? No.
For
You
sure.
need to go. You need to go find somewhere else for that nonsense.
Jaw.
Like I'm always innocent. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm super innocent.
Agree. I agree. Black flag.
Lies. Lies.
Toki got all up in my shit yesterday and moved all of my little figures around. I got really upset. Trying to put them all back to where they're supposed to be. Haven't quite figured it out yet.
Animal, humanoid, other.
All right, the volume should
Steven
be
does
back
it.
up on that.
Shax is not an other.
He's a tiger man. Of
Humanoid.
course he is.
That's true.
Humanoid. What part of humanoid do you not understand?
I suppose. Shax is a sub. Yeah, he is.
He is.
How he likes it.
He really is.
Mm-hmm. To whom? The Crucible.
Any strong woman, like strong-willed woman.
I mean, okay.
Green's making me do all sorts of nonsense.
She just wants you to be good at this. You think
That's
you'd be good at it by now after like 300 episodes.
Yeah, 7 years of doing this nonsense, you think I'd figured out how to do something. That's adorable. Okay, hang on. Now I'm supposed to do...
Not necessarily.
Yeah. Doing things repeatedly does not make you necessarily better at those things.
It's called fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I don't know where Green wants my little bar to be when I'm recording.
That's where I'm like...
Whether she wants it in stereo or mono, Green.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. This will all make sense to people shortly. All right, so...
Yeah.
I don't... But see, like...
Mono, okay.
I don't understand...
Wait, she wants us to record in mono?
Yep.
How do you do that?
48,000.
Oh, for the cable output?
For Audacity. I was checking my levels to make sure I wasn't screaming in her ear and that it sounded okay.
.1 surround sound.
I mean, I could do like this kind of thing when I'm speaking.
Get the Doppler effect in on there.
Sound kind of thing.
See,
yeah, but then if you do like a Doppler effect, then you're really doing more of like a back and forward, and I think that's against terms of service.
Okay, I think if I drop... See, the problem is that the input recording volume keeps changing. So...
Dr. Herbivore, hi! I'm totally innocent. That's why I have a terms of service emote now. Someone get the juicy flute. It's not an official flavor yet from Advanced GG, so... When they announce it as an official flavor, then we'll have all of us will have our Juicy Flute Advanced GG.
But I like that
Juicy
gum.
Flute flavors.
But I like that gum.
It's gonna be Juicy Flute.
Juicy flute? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. It's going to be the new
Okay.
flavor. Juicy
Okay.
flute. Yeah. Juicy flute.
Do not inquire.
Do not. I think I downloaded that VOD, so I have it forever. You know you want to. God damn it, Alma. And no. No. Hey, look, I am a 12-month subscriber to this thing. Blue, our baby is a year old. Actually, our baby is 3 months old, 4 months old, 3 months old.
3 foot 3 months. Is that?
Our baby is 3 months old
is
now.
Is that like a parsec? It's kind of like a distance and a time period. Is that how we're doing things?
When I taught astronomy, do you know how hard a light year was?
No,
to explain to people?
It's as far as light goes in a year. Why is that difficult?
Yes, but that concept is so difficult for dumb people. You have no idea.
It's literally the most straightforward definition that you can come up with. It is.
Yeah.
If I shine a light, how long does it take for this to go to there?
No, it is hard because they're like, is it a distance? I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it's a distance. It's how far light can go in a year.
Yeah, but then they didn't understand like the year part. I'm like, it's very simple. It was hard for them. Okay.
If you're standing at point A and you turn on a flashlight,
light gets hard. Yeah, light is a particle and a wave.
I mean, hard light is a thing.
Very erect. Yeah, hard light is the thing. It's my favorite gun.
The pinball machine.
I pull it out in the crucible when I get real frustrated.
Yeah.
I have to ask permission from Rick and/or no. When it was meta, I had to ask Rick or Chaos if I could pull it out when I was getting frustrated because it would like tilt the other team and then they would all pull it out. So they were like, no, like they knew that if the other team wasn't using it, I was not allowed to pull it out and like whip it around.
Because then people get jealous and they have to. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, because they'd be like, we want to be like, comparing lengths and like, is yours harder than mine? Why is yours so shiny? So.
Do you have Audacity running?
It's not recording, but I do have it.
Okay. And we have mono. Not the sickness. Not the sickness.
I don't have mono.
Yeah, we don't. Not the illness. The audio type.
Set it to mono. Yeah.
Set it to mono. It's very infectious. All right. So just record.
Wow.
3. Ken, thank you so much for gifting some.
2, 1, click.
God damn it.
Wow.
All right, get back up running on this. Oh man. Well, welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on February 5th, 2021 over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, I want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This week's episodes are going to be focused around exploring the lore book, Your Friend Micah Abram. And I always want to call it Abrams. I don't know why. So I'm going to try my best to say the name correctly this entire episode. Orchid will probably laugh at me if I mess it up. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the intro session of the week's exploration. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
This is Hard Light Abuser. Hey, it's Orchid.
And last but definitely not the least in the hot seat as guest co-host, we have Hellamist, how are you doing?
I'm just shaking my head at the hard light user.
I said abuser, not user.
I mean, with
worse.
with hard light,
worse.
isn't it the same thing?
That's
I mean,
worse.
it depends. Like, how hard do you want it?
And we're off. Oh, so anyway, special announcements before we get to Orchid's. What are we calling it? Orchid's Cute Corner? Is that what we're calling it?
It's the, what did we call it last week? Otter Stop.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so before we get there, we have a update for everyone. So everyone notices Green's not on the screen for those in live strat, and probably by the time you guys hear this, you'll notice that Green's not with us. She is actually going to be stepping back from being a co-host and actually taking on a even more important role, I think, an editorial and / production role. So what this translates into is you're not going to necessarily hear Green on the show, but she will still be very involved with everything that we do. She's actually going to be helping me try to refocus the layout, which I know is kind of funny to anybody who's been with us for longer than a couple episodes. And she's going to be responsible for editing and making us sound even better than I could ever be able to do, because she actually understands how to use the programs, because she's awesome. So just that's just a bit of a change in it's basically there was a bit of a schedule change. There's and she felt like she wants to do more of that side, and so I'm, like I told her, I'm always happy to be a guinea pig to try stuff out. So that is what's going to be going forward. Green will still be present. She just won't necessarily be on air with us. So, that being said, Orchid, what are we calling your section?
Apparently, Chad decided last week that it's Orchid's Otter Stop.
Otter Stop. Okay, I'm going to put that in there. Special announcements is Orchid's Otter Stop.
We can just call it the thing that I do. Orchid's one job that she has, besides using Twitter.
The one job she has. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Orchid's the one job she has. Orchid's the thing she has to do so she's not fired every week.
So, Orchid. The one thing
Hey,
that
guys,
you have to do.
Hey guys, it's Orchid. I would really love for you to go visit thelorenetwork.com, where you can find us alongside many impressive lore content creators. And let us know your thoughts on the weekly lore roundups, both for podcasts and for YouTube. That'd be great. Also, if you could, go leave us a review over on iTunes. 5 stars would be nice. I'll settle for 4. Anything less, and I'll get Hardlight out. And I'll abuse it in the Crucible in your name. So, thanks. That's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to take a opportunity to do is there's a bit of new information that got dropped this week. I know it's not really going to be in regards to the topic for tonight, but I figured we'd take a couple minutes and just throw out our initial thoughts on the trailer. Orchid, I'm going to put you in the hot seat first. So, what about Seattle? What do you think of our new arch nemesis?
Her name is Keitel.
I'm
Seattle.
referring to
Seattle
her
is the place near my house.
I'm pretty sure that Twitter's assistance in pronunciation went downhill very quickly.
Well, okay, like Maddie, Mylan Games, and everybody firstly decided it was Keitel because there was like no determination on how it was pronounced. And then the trailer came out and they're like Keitel, and I'm like, where did the other A go, guys? And so my feedback is, Bungie, do you know how to pronounce the own word in your trailer? Because I don't think you do. but
Pins
I'm really
Pins
excited for
puts
the
in
new
a
season
vote to
because
just call her
hey,
Cupcake.
that the armor looks really good, and I'm really, really excited for the new weapons because the loot pool is really
I think there's one item in particular that I saw that you were really excited for.
the fire bow.
No, from the
Oh,
trials set.
oh. You mean the three peak sword?
No, the ghost shell.
Oh, the ghost shell that looks like lady part.
As soon as he said ghost shell, I knew where he was going.
I cannot
Log.
take
Log.
responsibility for that. That is Log Power Slave, the fearless
Logs.
leader of my clan, Terra Australis. That is not me. Do not put that shit on me. That is Log's fault. That is not my fault.
I saw that
Guilty
tweet
by
and I was
association?
like, I saw that tweet from him and I was like, oh my gosh, that is hilarious. And then immediately, like, I was scrolling through it. It was like, and there's Orchid. It's like, yep.
I'm very excited for it. I want it so bad. Actually, the trial ship is really pretty.
Mhm.
I do want the trial sword just because that means Bungie is finally saying, like, yes, we're giving you a 3-peak weapon. We
Oh my gosh.
definitely give you the seal of approval to do this. And
Did
I'm
you
like,
see
thank you, because I already do this all the time in trials.
Did you
So
see Obi's modification?
I loved it so much. I retweeted it.
The salt.
I need to go check this out
I
now.
like it. I've seen the name Temptations Look floating around also, which is also super good. So
The best
whoever
part
came
of
up with
that, the
like,
best part
good
was
on you.
the ammo was just yes.
So good. The salty edge.
Salty
yes,
edge,
Rendell.
yeah. Oh
So
my
good.
gosh. So
I'm a little less enthused of a bunch of the year one weapons. The messenger coming back, I really like. I liked that
Mhm.
D1 weapon. I like the fact that is back.
I'm excited to see Shadow Price was on there, which will be
Yeah.
and the reason I'm excited because there's some implications with Shadow Price within the lore, and then the palindrome is just simply because the flavor text is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and chat's talking about the Aeon armor is apparently coming. It's going to be very interesting to see how that
Aeon
rolls.
armor, you can drop heavy ammo for your teammates with the Aeon armor if you have the right mod on. So if you can drop like heavy ammo all the time, like doing finishers, like that is OP.
Right. Like these are actually meaningful changes to the Aeon cult.
Which is
Armor,
good because the
not the
Aeon
cult itself.
armor is trash right now. Like my take,
Oh,
I
it
was
is.
just listening to, okay, this is a shout out at the beginning of the episode that just dropped today from last time of me saying a shout out to the Aeon Swift gauntlets because you're trash. It did not last till today because they just buffed them. So
That didn't age well.
bad age because they buffed it. So thank you, Bungie, for buffing the thing that I don't like. So yay!
What about you, Elemis? What were your thoughts on the trailer?
I've got mixed feelings. The trailer was cool to watch. Like I actually enjoyed seeing Kate. I'm calling her Kate. It's either that or cattle.
Yeah.
She's got the tusks for it.
Right? So the trailer was interesting to watch. I'm excited to see what comes from story for the next season. And as far as the images that came along with, all the new weapons and stuff, it's reskinned old weapons, and I'm starting to feel that drag. Like I haven't really played Destiny in the last couple weeks because I'm feeling that burnout. it's only taken me 7 years to get to that point, but yeah. So I'm gonna play the activities anyway. I'm gonna go for the title, the seals anyway.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's just whether I'm actually gonna do anything after getting the seals is still up in the air.
Right, and that's fair. That is fair. I'm excited to see how they are going to be changing the Vanguard with the concept of the helm and all that, the hammer of power that they kind of were hinting at. They've been hinting at with a couple different posts. There's a mention to a new vendor that is going to be attached to the helm. And so seeing how that is going to play out, I'll be interested. I did find that the helm is the hub for emergency logistics and maneuvers. And so there's a war table seasonal vendor. And so I'm curious to see if that's going to be like Osiris or Crow, because they were both with Zavala during the trailer. And it's basically referred to as a war table. But with the difference, Hammer of Proving looks to be another chalice type thing, is from what I'm seeing on what I've been able to dig up. So that's going to play into that concept of those battlegrounds and that strike and the different campaign missions. So I'm really kind of curious how they're also bringing back the Prismatic Recaster, which will be interesting because I think they're also bringing back Umbral Engrams, if I remember that correctly. Yeah. Which I think
yum,
that
yum, 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 yum,
that
yum.
Yum. I think that was a really good call on theirs, but I mean, yeah, I always get really excited with new seasons because it's just like, it gives a little bit of a change to the gameplay in any way, and then also the new stories that it will bring. Sorry, chat's asking about the Prismatic Recaster. I thought I saw something about that. Pins and chat. I'll look and try to find it again. There was a few little tidbits that Bungie had put out in their help pages, actually. I was scrolling through them this morning and I was like, oh, there's some actual information about Helm and the Hammer of Proving included in their help documentation that they have. And I was kind of interested in there because it was talking about the different proving runes and the different pursuits that you can get. There's 3 tiers of pursuits that you can unlock on the Hammer of Proving, with different runes that then you can use to what looks like focus the different missions, which is why I'm kind of thinking that it's kind of be similar to the Chalice that we saw with, what was that? That was the Menagerie. Which I think I remember a lot of people really liking the Chalice kind of concept because of the control that it gave you over the Menagerie runs. But correct me here, but wasn't the Chalice kind of a precursor to the Prismatic Recaster? Because wasn't it kind of a similar? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we also have something similar with the lure, the Wrathborn lure.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of the refinement of those concepts into the helm, is kind of because the helm is basically, it sounds like it's going to be the new central hub really that we all go to, which I'm kind of excited to see how that plays out, because it's described as the ultimate Vanguard staging ground, so that's going to be interesting. But that all being said, let's jump into the actual content that we're here to talk about. Your friend and my friend, Micah Abram, not Abrams. There's only one Abram. So Orchid, am I allowed to run through the main characters while I put you to sleep?
I suppose. I don't know. Cordell's saying that I'm already tired, so you better make it quick. So
Oh, okay. I'll make it quick. Okay. So
Yeah.
general summary of this particular lore book. Now, and actually, before I start, Orchid, Elmas, did you guys already go through this one with Guardians of Lore? Have you already gone through
No.
this one? Okay, cool. I could not remember if you guys. I think Green has had it on the Destiny Lore audio file, which I think this was the ones that she did a knockout job with the voices on. Snowsuits is apparently a thing. If you know what I'm talking about, enjoy that little tidbit there. The general summary for this particular book, it basically takes place roughly 3 to 4 months. So it follows a character known as Micah Abram, and Micah is a younger boy. I think he's like 10. I think in the time of the book. And basically what it is he's writing letters. He's writing a journal basically, but it's in the form of letters to the traveler. And what these letters basically go over is just kind of detailing some like interesting bits that he kind of experiences. And what's really cool about it is it actually shows some of the hints of darker tensions within the workforce on Europa or in the Eventide area. So this is another kind of angle at what is going on within Eventide on Europa, within the workforce of Clovis Bray, both from a kid's perspective, which is a very unique perspective, actually. Yeah, Dear Santa, as chat is calling it. The major characters that we see are obviously Micah. There is a really cool thing about Micah. Micah will eventually become Micah 10. This is a guardian known as the Den Mother of Ghost. And if you noticed, Micah is actually confirmed as the first noted figure within the game lore to be a male human who transitions into a female Exo. Now, I will call out that the exact time of transition is unknown. So this could have occurred at the moment of uploading into an Exo frame. It could have occurred when Micah was reborn as a guardian. We don't know, but it's really cool seeing that representation being put into the game. The other figure is Papa. Papa, we don't know his actual name. He is a lead quantum engineer at Braytech. And then Micah's other father is Dad. We actually do know who Dad is. Dad is Hector Abram. Most people might recognize this as Hector 6. Hector 6 is referenced in Legacy's Lament. Hector was one of the psychologists that was brought to Eventide to basically help track the humanness of Exos. He was one of those experts that was kind of basically responsible for the Turing test, if you will, for the Exos. Another really cool thing about Hector is that Hector was apparently one of Clovis Bray's closest confidants. This is mentioned in the Last Flight Home entry, but actually it's events on Eventide that actually drove Hector to kind of stab Clovis Bray in the back, and he is one of the ones that is responsible for reporting Clovis Bray to the authorities for violations to human rights and all the other atrocities that were performed on Europa. And we see this breaking point within the Icefall Mantle entries. So Hector is one who has a very interesting arc because Hector does not, I would argue Hector does not willingly become an Exo. We're not really sure where that one is. But so those are the main characters that we get into. I do note here that it's a very interesting little conversation that we have with Hector and Papa, because Hector is called out to being the pragmatist that balances out the dreamers. There's a quote that Papa tells Micah that he and Micah are the kind of people who are always seeking out the new and interesting, and they forget to fear what they don't know. Sometimes that can get them into trouble, and that's why we have people like Hector to balance us out. So I found it kind of funny that the psychologist is the pragmatist, the theoretical scientist is the pragmatist, and the quantum scientist, like the scientist who's actually engineering, is the idealistic dreamer. It's usually presented as the other way around. But that's really kind of a really quick rundown of who all we have involved. I don't know, did I miss anybody that you guys remember stood out for you guys?
Not really.
Nope, I don't think so. I think you got the main important people.
And note that Orchid is still awake.
Oh, You know what? You forgot the most important characters, the penguins.
Oh, the Exo Penguins. We'll talk about them in just a second. Well, I have a fun theory about those from our good friend Josh, which I think you guys will find entertaining. But let's take a break real quick, and we'll come back and talk about Exo Penguins. Okay, so Exo Penguins, as Josh refers to them. Josh has a kind of headcanon theory that the penguins were the experiment that Clovis Bray performed to make sure that he could make humans into exos. So he took regular penguins and made them into exos first. They were the animal testing. So we have 9 of them. Wait, 9, right?
Yeah, 9.
Because if you look at the penguins, they're like exos. Chat.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the experiment, the animal experimentation that Clovis Bray did to make sure that the mechanics work.
No. No.
I hate you.
Obviously they failed. So now that I've broken Elemist and Orchid.
Yeah, they don't move.
They don't move.
Actually, they're probably like the rabbits on the moon where they do move. They just don't move when you're looking at them.
So they're weeping
like
exos.
Toy Story.
They're weeping exos. They're like weeping
they're
angels.
Weeping, oh God.
They're like weeping angels, but exoed penguins.
They're like the little bunnies. They only
yeah,
move when
you
you're
have
not
one.
looking.
That's creepy because it's gonna kill you and send you through time and eat your future.
God.
So actually going back to what we actually see in chat or in the lore, when Micah gets the first penguin, he names it Mihalova, and it's basically it was basically Clovis being like, "You're a kid, have a plushie. This will make you forget all the traumatic nonsense that we put you through." Just showing that Clovis has no understanding of human emotion. But then Micah goes on to collect. It's one of the first things that we see Micah as collecting, like the discarded little things, which will actually be important later on when he becomes a guardian, because at that time she becomes the den mother of ghosts. She actually collects ghosts. But when Micah gets the next 8 of the penguins, he names them Calumet, Hardy, Kiao, Clovis, Willa, Alton, Elsie, and Anna. What's kind of cool here is that the one that he names Calumet is named after, Evie from Ares 1. Trying to remember real quick.
This is the aeronaut you didn't get to meet because she died on the way to Mars.
Correct. And we get confirmation that she did not die before the mission left. She actually died on the way to Mars. At least that's the story that Micah knows. Because if you remember, there was kind of this thought that she died before they left because she was in the clubhouse and Rasputin air quote, Rasputin is theorized to have turned off fire alarms that conveniently didn't go off, and she died. So this is actually a nod to the fact that she was on the way to Mars when she died instead of before leaving. Pins, yes, Mihailova was the Russian scientist who actually was the creator of R, which was the AI that would become Rasputin.
I'm still stuck on penguin exos.
I'm telling you, Exo Penguins. The weeping Exo Penguins.
Yeah,
Black Flag's right. I mean, he was already using pigs for one thing. He didn't have them, so he needed another animal to test out stuff on. Penguins.
But that specifically means that he brought penguins from Earth.
Mm-hmm. Just to kill them.
Like, why not mice? Why not rats?
Because they're
they're called lab rats.
Because they're too small.
I love how this headcanon's the thing that we're switching back to.
Because penguins are bigger. You can put more stuff in them. More exo stuff.
Okay. Hear me out. Horses.
Okay. Oh,
Horses.
where are you going to find horses on Europa?
Were we invaded by horse
where
people?
are you going to find penguins on Europa?
I'm assuming they're European penguins.
No.
It's cold there, so penguins? Question mark.
Instead of African penguins. How many wing beats? Oh, I want exo horse mounts now is apparently what chat's going on about. So actually, speaking about exos and speaking about horses, which actually is a really good segue, we have a call out to Cade actually in this lore book. And I was curious. So we have this big thing where Cade and another exo are having a conversation, and Micah sneaks up and basically overhears them talking about food and dreams and this whisper. But it's called out that when Micah hears this conversation, it makes him feel ill. And I was curious, what were your thoughts? Like, why do you think he got that sense of being sick when he heard Cade? And it's actually Nox is the other exo. We have that. Why do you think that conversation made him feel ill?
I don't know. Because, I mean, from the actual entry, it sounded like he didn't quite understand what was being talked about.
Right. And I think the only other thing there was they were talking about Hector and like how Hector was asking them questions. And so I was like, well, maybe because it's talking about his dad. The other thing too is that we do get there is a call out to the long slow whisper kind of here. And there is a idle dialogue, I believe it is Varix, that says that we have Aramis actually having talked about the long slow whisper, which basically kind of points to the fact that, you know, a lot of people thought that when Cade mentions the long slow whisper in, what was that? Was that Forsaken? Like Forsaken? Or was that... trying to remember when did we do the Cade stash?
Yes, Forsaken.
Yeah, okay. So, you know, when he has the thing where he's like he's basically left a message to the minds behind the crypt or whatever. A lot of people thought that he was talking about long slow whisper as something that was doing with the exo programming. But if Aramis is also hearing the whisper, that kind of points it more to clarity or the darkness, not necessarily a exo programming thing. So there's an interesting connection there. And then to kind of come back into the lore book, we have, I think it's entry 7, where Micah he makes a sound and the two Exos hear him, and he takes off running, and one of the Exos catches him and picks him up, and then Nox is the one that basically is like, well, we should just, we just kill him to get, so we don't get in trouble. And Cade shoots Nox in the back of the head and basically kills Nox. Or at least that's kind of how I read it. Did you guys have that did you guys read that as well? Or, because it never really specifies how Micah got away from the Exos.
Right. It never actually specified. And I don't even think Micah wrote anything about like hearing a loud sound or anything.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can find it real quick, because I want to say that he heard, because I know Cade made a comment. Cade makes a comment later about how he was not a good shot, which is really funny.
Right.
Let's see. Go, Mike. No, I'm sorry.
I do want to go back and talk about the long slow whisper.
Mm-hmm.
I had taken it as there is a quote from Elsie during the Deepstone Crypt raid.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I had to pull up the Guardian of Lore show notes for this. It's, I'll set whispers on the wind for any future generations, tales of the evil Clovis Bray brought forth.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I had taken that as she set those whispers as kind of like a backdoor in the actual Exo process. So any future Exos would be created with that long slow whisper. Because you see how full of hatred Cade was during that Ace in the Hole mission towards the people who created the whisper. So it, like, I'm looking at all these pieces and I'm like, okay, I think it's more of the actual like Exo process than clarity control.
Okay. But then what would be the connection to Aramis hearing the whisper? Or do you think that's a different whisper? Do you think that's more of like the whisper of power?
I do.
Okay.
Honestly,
yeah.
Because, I mean, whenever you get close to any of the pyramid, anything dealing with the pyramids, you hear those whispers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that might be a different whisper.
That's fair. Real quick, it's letter 6, not letter 7. Letter 7 talks about the dreams, which I know we'll probably get to here in a second. Letter 6 is the one where it says that he gets caught, and I think it's the one with blue eyes. So I think Cade is the one that actually catches him. But he says, I couldn't look away even as I heard the other one asking what they should do with me, if it would be easier if I just went missing. Then all of a sudden its eyes went dark and I fell to the ground. A second later it collapsed in a sparking metal heap next to me. So that's where it was like, So did Cade shoot Nox to protect Micah? Which ties into a whole nother theory of mine about Cade and his obsession with a small child.
Right.
Because and just to be clear, I'm pretty sure Cade's jumbled memories has recreated Micah as Ace in his memory. I think he sees, because we know Exo's memories get jumbled, and then also they get jumbled when he is created as a guardian. I think that he remembers the situation, and I think he transfers the idea of Micah into this figure that he knows as Ace, because he has a very strong protective instinct over Ace, and this is my interpretation. So this isn't canonical at all, but I have a feeling that when Cade thinks of this situation, this is kind of like where he gets the concept of ace from.
I am totally good with that theory.
It makes like it makes the connections between Cade and Micah, which is actually really cool too, because then Micah becomes a guardian, which I'm curious if we'll ever see if there was any interaction between Micah 10 and Cade. Like, I'd be curious how that would work, because neither of them remember anything. That was confirmed with Micah 10 has dreams. I think that was one of the raid gear. I can't remember which specific piece, but one of the raid armor pieces, Legacy Oath's Greaves. She comments about a quote that Hector has actually from this lore book. But it's like this hazy memory, whereas like Cade also has this like hazy memory of this child that he dubs Ace.
I am totally good with that. And I mean, going off of that same idea, his queen, wasn't there a woman in the Ishtar Collective that he fancied?
Yeah, Maya. Sundaresh.
Yeah. So like I totally see that
misconstrued.
being the case for Cade.
I can see that being, and it's like one of those things where even he recognized, because I think wasn't it one of the lore books? Cade. Yeah, the man they called Cade. Didn't he like actually call out? He's like, no, I know she doesn't exist, but she's like this ideal figure that he uses.
Yeah.
Because I think
and it's the same for Ace.
Right.
Like, he knows Ace doesn't exist, but
he uses it as
writing to Ace in order to essentially get his thoughts down and keep himself a good man.
Chat saying, which character was the one that showed up and bothered Clovis? I think that was Hector. So the start of the book is basically Micah and Hector on their way to Europa because Papa has gotten them a position, or has gotten Hector a position at Eventide. Now, we don't know exactly how long it was before Hector reported the atrocities. The book itself takes place in the span of, again, like 3 to 4 months. But sorry, they're talking about the hallucination, the Vex. It was Maya.
The journal.
The journal. Yeah, that was the Vex ultimately corrupting Clovis's brain. That was fun. That was a fun dive into okay, I see. They're making I mean, and so sorry, chat's talking about, did the Vex hallucinations seep into the Exo processing? I could see the argument for that, because basically the alkahest that's used for the Exos is Vex mind fluid. So, like, if there's, now that being said, it's Vex mind fluid that's been quote unquote purified through the exposure to the paracausal energy of the darkness. So it doesn't, to me, it kind of sounds like the psychedelic effects and the what was it, the harmful vectors were kind of expunged because it was irradiated with whatever it is that clarity has. But that being said, I mean, anything's, to be fair, anything's possible when you have space magic, so.
That's true.
Okay. I got, Veru's kind of, Black Flag's laughing at my use of the word purified. Veru is saying, because because if it's true that the possibility of Clovis's hallucinations seeped into Exo processing, then it's possible that the real Cade never fancied Maya and the hallucinations of Clovis that drives the obsession with Maya. That's an interesting, yeah, I can see that's an interesting thing. I guess my counter argument to that thought is, but then wouldn't you see that necessarily in all Exos being obsessed with Maya in some fashion? Like, or yeah, I mean, I can see it, but I think that there's difficulty with that one. Unpasteurized. Orchid, I appreciate you.
Yeah, no.
But
No.
This is what happens when you leave me with chat and I have nothing to say. So I'm just saying it in chat. Chat and I are having our own conversation.
The other thing I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit here was just here at the very end, while we have a couple more minutes, was Micah being, you know, one of the first lore character who actually transitions. I found that really interesting. I know a lot of people actually really appreciated that. I didn't know. Did you guys have any thoughts? Any, like, you know, did that come as a surprise to you guys, or did you have any? I know there's a couple of people who, to be fair, Micah is never. I don't think Micah refers to himself as a pronoun in the lore book. It's all
he does not.
So we actually, to be full disclosure, we talked to a couple of the writers and kind of got soft confirmation that was the intent. That being said, in the sake of the death of the author argument, the text itself does not specifically say Micah is a male. However, there is the implication within one, I think it was entry 2, when Hector and them, or was it letter 1? Basically when they get to Europa and Papa and Hector like meet, and Hector has a beard, and he's like, oh yeah, because he says he feels like he's kissing a polar bear, and Papa said Dad'll grow a beard too once he discovers how much warmer his face will be. Soon you'll have 2 polar bears for parents. And then he goes on to say, like, basically that he expects when he grows up he'll have a beard too, which is where it kind of like you get this idea that Micah is a young boy.
Oh yeah,
because it goes on to say, blah blah blah. If that's true, then expect to see me. He's again talking to the traveler here. He says, that was a long time ago, way before I was born, but you've been around so long, human years must feel like a minute to you. If that's true, then expect to see me, except grown up with a beard, on Io 1 second after you get this. So again, that's just kind of like that implication there that Micah, you know, is a male. Also, we do get soft confirmation. Interestingly enough, we get soft confirmation that human lifespan is 3 centuries now, I thought that was really cool. So there was a couple little confirmations to lore pieces that we've had kind of floating around in the background within this particular book that was really cool. I'm trying to remember where exactly that was. I think it was in the same entry, because he was basically talking about how he didn't want to waste time, because he would waste like the 290 years that he had left.
I don't see it in the same entry.
Yeah, I don't see it in the same one. I'm trying to remember if it was near the beginning though, and I'm just I'm so annoyed that I didn't have it quoted for myself here. Because my name is Micah. I'm 10 years old and a human. Anyways, he basically he says something about I can't imagine not having like the 290 years left, and so it's again kind of nodding back to way back in Destiny 1. We had a line from the speaker about how human lifespan tripled, and so it was just kind of putting not a hard number, but putting a harder number on that within the Golden Age confirmation, or within the Golden Age. So seeing that was kind of cool.
Found it. It was on letter 4.
Letter 4, okay.
Doing all the work to lead up to something new, then bam, some stupid accident wipes me out.
Oh, yeah.
Or wipes me and the rest of my 290 years out.
Yeah. That's right, because they were talking about the school and everything.
Yeah.
And that's right, because that's the one, that's right after you get confirmation that Evie died because she died on the way to Mars.
Which is pretty sus.
Yes. Fire alarm's not going. Vent R. R was the imposter. I do appreciate, I think it was in letter 1, Micah's like, are you like Rasputin? But so I mean, I guess to kind of wrap the intro, like this kind of the summary up, like the idea again is like this. It's this weird conglomeration of different letters that are taken from various points within, these 3 or 4 months of time that this kid was on Europa. And so it's like there's like a lot of, obviously, as you can probably tell by this point, there's a lot of these like little stories that are all baked into this one larger, it's not really a big story, but it's like this, like, again, just like this collection of diary entries. I don't know. I really enjoyed reading this, first off, because it's got more information about Micah, who I love Micah because we've always gotten this hint that Micah is this thing with ghosts. Like she kind of collects and protects these ghosts. I've always kind of liked her story. But I didn't know, what did you guys, were you guys as happy with this book as others, or did you guys not find it that interesting?
So I didn't really know who Micah was before I read this book.
That's fair. Because Micah, to be fair, Micah, I think, was the biggest nod. She was in Ghost Stories.
Yeah, and
because Pop.
Ghost Stories, yeah. Ghost Stories to me is just like a fun conglomerate of just like a bunch of little stories. And so you kind of read it once and forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like kind of goes in one ear and out the other. Because you remember the funny ones.
There are a few funny, I was going to say, there are a few funny ones.
The Don Quixote there's a couple sad ones, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah, Black Flag says this book felt like a slice of life anime. It really did. It's actually a really good description of this book.
But I think that's also why it was a little refreshing, right?
I was more interested in the dream aspect of it.
Okay.
Because you can kind of compare it to constellations and like the speaker dreams if you really wanted to make that kind of comparison. So it's like, how crazy can your dreams get? Let's compare it to that. And maybe like Mara Sov's crazy dreams when she's like throwing herself out into like the vacuum of space in her weird suit, and like, everybody's weird dreams. And now we have, Crow's weird dreams that he has too with his like Hawk Moon dreams. So everyone's having weird dreams now. So let's compare everybody's weird dreams. So I'm kind of enjoying everybody's weird dreams. So
we'll talk about the weird dreams here.
For the weird dreams.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that one next.
Yeah.
But Almus, what were your kind of
And
takeaways.
like to continue on from Orchid, like I actually really enjoyed the book because it was so different from all the other books that we've had. Like you've got Call of the Cryptolith, which is very Lovecraftian. You've got, you know, Legacy's Lament, which is literally a war story with sabotage from your own side. You know, so like we've got all these things about a lot of destruction and fighting and death, and then you get this one about a little kid who's sending messages to the traveler. It's so out in left field that it was refreshing. And I've got my own headcanon about Micah, where like all these messages actually did send and get received by the traveler. So the traveler was like, "You are a speaker. You will take care of all my ghosts."
I can see that. I can see that in a way, yeah.
And it makes it cuter.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, and it also kind of connects a few of the looser threads about why the ghosts are drawn to Micah particularly.
Yeah.
I do. I like that one kind of. Orchid's mad in chat right now because someone reminded her of some of the best entries from Ghost Stories. So before I get screamed at by Orchid, you guys want to do shout outs for the intro session? I think we'll talk about, I think in the advanced session we'll jump into the dreams, and then I actually wanted, Elemist, I wanted to hear some of your thoughts about potentially Hector's fate. About some of the you talked about sabotage. I want to hear some sabotage talk with Hector. But real quick, shout outs for the intro session. Elmas, you got any for us?
Shout out to you guys for dragging me in here. And by extension, shout out to Green. She's doing some awesome work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like,
oh God, yeah.
I don't know if she's made it public or anything, but like she's got some awesome stuff in the pipeline for her own personal life that translates into this life, you know, the online aspects. And it's just mad kudos for doing it during a pandemic.
Indeed.
And actually making it go somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Orchid, what about you?
Shout out to chat as always. Shout out to Green. I'm gonna miss doing this with you, but you're still here as you've reminded me. But thank you for everything. I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss talking to you at this time, even though like we're still just like messaging each other on the side. But it's not quite the same. So shout out to you. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
And definitely echoing those as well. Also shout out to
shout out to Matt and Danny.
Who
are getting married.
Are they going to? I remember them saying
they shifted their wedding one day.
Okay.
So they could get married.
Because I know that I know Matt was talking about the quarantine had they had redone a quarantine, so they were changing some of the requirements. I didn't know if they had decided that they were still going to go ahead or not.
Yeah, the mask requirement ended at midnight on the day of their wedding, so they shifted it one day.
Fair enough. You know what? Hey, play by the rules. That's the best way to do it. So yeah, big shout out to Matt and Danny on that. And then also, yes, echoing huge kudos to Green for everything that she is doing and has in the pipe to do. And then also a big shout out to Elemis for being willing to be like, hey, you want to get on an episode? Come on.
Oh, I'm always glad to.
Yep. Yep. We appreciate it. So, as always, I wanted to just thank you guys for your time. And until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer, stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring. Okay. And we'll just cut that. So go ahead and stop that and save it, and then we'll do a separate one just to kind of help.
Green, do you want this as 24-bit? Okay.
So what do I do?
Said that works.
A
standard?
24-bit WAV.
Oh, you're saving it as a WAV.
WAV.
WAV. What's that? Is that a signed 24-bit?
Yes.
Okay.
WAV. Almost sent me the really cute audio where Glint talks about how he used to be pulled pork.
Oh yeah. It's
really cute, and Crow giggles.
Oh gosh.
It's adorable.
Send me that one because I haven't heard that one yet.
It's adorable. Here, let me just copy the tweet. I'll put the tweet in chat so chat can enjoy it.
You send it to chat. I sent it to Blue.
Yay!
Enjoy this. This is really cute. I'm actually saying something with pulled pork and it is cute. So enjoy this moment.
Enjoy this moment.
Enjoy this rare moment. Clip it while you can.
You used to call me cooked meat.
I think it's cute. I love his little laugh. His little laugh is really adorable.
That's up there with what was it that Josh had a quote. Josh was doing something and I can't remember if it was Arghost or Glint, but someone said something about buy my flappables or something like that. And Josh messaged me. He's like, the what?
I think it was Argos.
I was like, oh man. Thanks, Lieberman.
Bye, Lieberman.
That pleases my ears.
Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night. Sleep tight. I'm definitely not falling asleep. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh, where's the folder, Blue?
I have not created one yet. I will do that now. Listen.
Doing.
Listen.
This is.
Hey, listen.
What?
Listen.
Hey, listen.
Oh, I did create a folder. I just
did you?
I did. I like when past Blue does things. That helps future Blue out.
Oh, and see, future me always thinks that past me is a dick.
I will be honest that is a general that is a general reaction too on my part. I'm like, God damn it, you're so lazy. Why? And then I'm like, I understand. This makes sense. I wouldn't want to do this either.
I mean,
God, past me, you used to not be so lazy. The fuck?
What type of tea is that, Orchid?
I'm looking it up so I can get the exact timing. Okay, here it is. There you go, Green.
Taiping
Ho Kui. It's a special kind of tea where they take the green tea leaves and they take it onto a screen and they like smear them together and they make them into like really long and they like dry them in a certain way. They look fucking wild like when they actually dry out.
So why is green? What does it look like when you're drinking it?
It can you see?
Oh, okay. I was like, why is this blowing Green's mind about? So you actually are drinking it? Okay.
I have so much tea. Like I have an entire cabinet above my sink that's like full of tea from this tea shop in Arizona. They're like my Chinese tea.
7 cups.
Yeah, 7 cups.
They're out of stock for 2020.
Yeah, but the 2021 is going to be in late May or early June. So I have enough until then if I pace myself.
It's actually not. How much is 25 grams?
25 grams. That is a very small bag.
It's a very small bag?
This is very expensive tea.
Okay.
I usually get 50 grams and I buy several bags of it.
Yeah, never mind. I think in terms of coffee. So I'm like, I don't do grams. I do pounds. Like, how many pounds?
Yeah, I usually buy that and I'll buy like Mingding Ganlu, which is sweet dew tea. And that's like the oldest kind of green tea. Like the oldest kind of green tea.
Wait.
It's from Sichuan province. And
Szechuan
it was like
chicken?
the first tea. It was like the first tea cultivated like 2,000 years ago. Like,
well, hopefully they've gotten newer leaves.
Very good, but if you get like 100 grams of it, which is what I usually buy, like in bigger bags, it's like $75.
Yeah,
so,
I don't.
But that's
drink,
what I drink.
I don't
time,
drink tea enough to get into loose leaf tea. Because well, I understand it's like I get it, like it tastes completely different, but like my concept Orchid's talking about dong tea.
I hate all of you.
We know.
You have to, prep it just right for it to taste the best that it can.
Are we coming back around to hard light?
No, we're talking about dong tea. Don't you understand?
Jesus Christ. I want to go get more tea because you guys are the worst.
Wrong country. Bratwurst comes from Germany.
Uh-huh.
I'll stay with coffee. Yeah, I'll stay with coffee. Did she actually leave? She turned off her camera. Okay.
She just turned off the camera.
I just saw the camera go womp.
Right.
Oh shit. Okay. %, battery warning.
You finally saw it?
I just finally read it. I saw it pop up and I'm like, don't pay attention to it. Don't pay attention to it. Oh, man. Yeah, no, Green. I know. Or like loose leaf tea it's supposed to be so much. It's supposed to taste so much better. My problem is when I'm drinking tea, I'm usually either trying to use it to get caffeine, which in turn means I'm drinking it as quickly as I possibly can, which I can't taste it, or I'm using it to get caffeine, which means I'm drinking it as quickly as, yeah. Tea is a vehicle to deliver caffeine in my experience. I do have caffeine-free Bengal Spice. I will say that. That's mostly because that is one of the few teas that I can actually like sit there and I don't even need to drink it. You just like open the box and it's like, my life is better right now. I will say the the one with the bison, not Fastlane, the other one. Morning Thunder, I think. The one that has the mate in it. I'm not a huge fan of that one. Yeah, Morning Thunder, yeah. The mate has like a weird burnt taste, I think is the best way to kind of explain it. So it's kind of an odd flavor, whereas like the Fastlane's really good black tea. But yes, Bengal Spice is delicious. I will give you that. Did you make your dong tea in your back?
I did make my dog tea, but he is just like so incredibly big now. I don't really want to turn my cam back on.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. Like you left, and then all of a sudden, at the corner of my eye, the camera went whoomp. I was like, did she actually hang? Like, just leave?
Right.
No, it's pretty great.
Right, like they got to see all this deliciousness.
Ooh, India spice.
All the just the big E. Ooh, green. Oh, I love celestial seasonings. I love this tea.
Which one?
Celestial seasonings. I get a bunch of these at the store. Tazo is in my backyard.
I do not like Tazo. I think Tazo's chai is very harsh. I think I might have offended Orchid. It's like, what sound is going to come out of the microphone?
Right. Just waiting for it. We've got a pool going.
Wow.
And I lost it.
Orchid glare. Overwhelming disappointment.
I hear that sound a lot.
Nah, I blame my dislike of Tazo on Starbucks because they just, that was their big thing, and it was just, yeah.
Otter like chattering.
And that's fair.
We have Stash too. Stash is in Portland.
That's a familiar one. Which one?
Stash tea?
Yeah, I'm trying. That's a really common one, isn't it?
But what if I don't want to stash it?
That's that one. That's the Stash. I get their mint tea is really good though. I get their Moroccan mint. I buy it in like bulk, like restaurant sized bulk, like 200 bags at a time.
Yeah,
And
I
just
get
have it in a drawer.
their lemon ginger is really good.
I really love their lemon ginger. I have that in bulk too. Tetley. I love pyramid bags, almost. I drink PG tips. If I'm going to drink black tea, I drink PG tips because they come in pyramid.
What's the difference? Why is the pyramid bags?
Because there's more surface area, so the water steeps better through the leaves.
Okay. I know Celestial is starting I think it was Celestial that started not putting tags on their tea bags.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a little thing. I was like, I mean, like, I'm like, whatever. I don't care. But I was like, I was curious about it, and they actually had. I think it was on one of the on the Bengal spice boxes. They were like, why do we not use tags? And it was like something, and they put like the stats of how much paper they save by just not doing that, and it's like, an ungodly amount of tonnage of paper that they don't, and it's just like, I'm like, Jesus, that is like, you don't even think about it, but it makes sense as soon as someone says it. Yeah, so the problem with sleepy time tea is my 7-year-old loves it. It's really bad for kids.
Oh, is it? Why?
Chamomile.
Is that bad for kids?
Mm-hmm. You just have to be careful with how much you give them. He loves sleepy time, but it's got chamomile, and then there's something else in it that we were talking to one of the doctors, and they're like, yeah, just be careful. So. Oh, is that
Green was
okay?
so nice as to send me some chamomile
catnip?
Something or another. It was really good.
Wait, catnips in sleepy time? Is that what you're saying, Green? Oh, okay. Okay.
They use catnip in some of the sleepy times. Oh.
Yeah, because
so what I'm hearing is it has a weird effect on some of the kitties.
Well, catnip also will have. It has some wonky. If I remember right, it has some wonky effects on humans too.
It does?
It's like, it's not as severe, but it's like, what is it? Like, it's like any of the spices. Like, you have to ingest a huge amount of it. But what I remember reading? Oh yeah, when smoked or taken by mouth in high doses, it can cause headaches, vomiting, and a feeling of being ill. And like, you can actually, like, it can actually cause like really bad vomiting. But you have to ingest. I can't remember. It's like some, like, I think it's like 5 or 6 cups of just catnip.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's like poinsettias. Like, everyone's like, oh, poinsettias are poisonous. Poinsettias are poison. No, in order for a poinsettia to poison like a toddler, you would have to I think, because my mom actually, she always freaked out because she was always freaked out about poinsettias, and my grandfather was a doctor, and he actually sat down and was like, no, look, the studies are like, you have to ingest like 60 pounds of ground up it's not just leaves. They have to be like ground leaves, and it has to be like 60 or 70 pounds of poinsettia before a toddler would get poisoned. Like, it's like, you're not going to eat enough. Like, it's just, but it is one of those things where, yes, technically, if you were able to ingest this much, you would die.
So you just got to make sure you don't get
Yeah, just don't go near the
that
compost pile and
Yeah.
pizza tray. Yeah, toxicologically speaking, anything is a poison if you ingest enough of it. Yes.
I mean,
even pizza.
Even pizza.
probably.
Water
Hashtag
is the most painful way to
accurate.
die,
Mm-hmm.
or one of.
Well, yeah, because essentially you drown yourself.
Well, your cells explode.
Cell lysis. Yeah.
It's like So, anyways, you guys ready to talk about dreams and sabotage?
Sabotage. Yeah, I suppose.
Okay.
But I finished those missions with Varix.
Barracks missions?
Yeah, the sabotage missions.
Yes, Rendell,
Wait.
that's accurate. But that's like catnip. Catnip is the same.
Which missions with Barracks?
The little like secret menu that you have to actually go into and buy all the bounties and
the sabotage missions.
Yeah, they're called sabotage missions.
It's the ones that you unlock all the extra stuff. It's like how you can unlock extra gear and more powerful gear. The here always is what you use to purchase them. Orchid, did you miss a series of missions?
So Orchid, if you go talk to Varix and you see that square at the very top of his window, you click into it. And there's like 28 different missions that you can pick up.
There's a lot of them. Viru would like you to know that you are still not fired.
Guys, how do you play Destiny?
It was like it's
not
like
on Europa apparently.
Yeah. Orchid plays Destiny, we swear.
Orchid plays PvP.
Really?
Splintered seals in chat.
Well, that's because you can use them to then you can get there's one that the perk is you'll get extra powerful gear for your first heroic public event. Then there's another one where it's these things cost less here. I think it's here always, right? Isn't the here?
Yeah.
And then you get one where you get to pick up it gets to a point where you have so many of the freaking here always, because there's one that's you get here always basically from just walking around.
Yeah, there's one where you get here always for getting precision shots on Europa.
And yeah,
which then easy. I do that all the time.
Right, which correlates into half of the bounties that you get.
Right.
So, yes, Orchid.
There's one
for anyone who's bored with PvE, you might want to go check the hidden mission.
There's one that unlocks Exo Challenges, so I bet you haven't done those.
Have you? Yeah, have you not done the Exo Challenges then? Oh my God, those are fun. Oh, you poor innocent soul.
Are those the things where you jump around and it's cold and then you go gank the
Hydra.
harpy or the Hydra at the end?
Yeah,
is that one of them? I did that one.
That's one of them.
Chad saw me do that one.
Chad's never mind, I was wrong before. Yeah. So there's three different versions. There's agility, there's survival, and then there's safeguard. Safeguard's a slog. But the one that you jump that you have to survive the cold, that's survival, where you have to go to the different fire pits basically. And then there's another one where you have to jump, and it's agility, and it's literally a jumping puzzle. That's literally what it is. And then the last one's safeguard, where you just stand in the same spot and try not to die is pretty much.
It's okay. Pizza Trace is asking what the other two missions are. One of them is where there's like you have to jump back and forth from like one side to another because there's just guys that come from like either one
that's
side
safeguard.
or the other, and then
that's
like
safeguard.
Yeah, and then there's like a big guy that comes at the end, and then you like cack him at the end, and then that's it.
Mini horde mode.
That one's really easy.
Yeah, it's
mini horde mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Veru says, "Okay, you might get fired now."
And the other one's the one where you jump up the pyramid, right? And then there's like then you jump around on all the little platforms, and then you get like the treasure.
The hydras, and then you can skip the entire final.
Around.
Yeah, you can skip the entire final fight by just shooting the big thing in the middle.
That's the one where I just like float around with my bow and do angelic things. Bow floats.
Okay, so you've gotten you have done Exo Challenges, so you have done at least some of the sabotage missions.
Unless the Exo Challenges themselves were unlocked when Deepstone Crypt got beaten, and the actual weekly pinnacle for Exo Challenges hasn't.
You don't have the pinnacle. Do you get pinnacles from doing the Exo Challenges, Orchid?
Yeah.
Okay. This needs to be a bit Orchid explains.
I kind of feel like you need to log into the game and go check.
I think you do. Pretty certain.
The side eyes is the best part.
I don't know.
So yes, there are sabotage missions, which is like, I would argue, a large percentage of what Varix is doing after the first like basic campaign missions, because the entire storyline for the sabotage side quest is it's literally him sabotaging the House of Salvation on Europa. It's basically him kind of back in. It's the reason why the Vanguard is protecting him from the Awoken right now, is because he's still helping us destabilize House Salvation on Europa. I fully support a section existing called Orchid Explains.
That's what we're doing right now.
This week in Orchid Explains, we're going to talk about the sabotage missions.
I obviously know what I'm talking about.
The first line is, the what?
I fully understand how this works. You jump around, and then you get the treasure at the end. That's how it works.
Each week, it's literally her doing an intro, or Blue doing an intro, and then her going, the what?
Yeah, this is the what? The part right here. Those are things? 15 minutes later. Oh! Oh. We love you.
I do have to say that I did not get a single penguin and did not know they were collectibles, because when Irish was on my account doing fucking something for me, she grabbed a bunch of them. So I like don't know where any of them are.
To be
what
fair,
they look like in game, because she just like went around and grabbed all of them.
Yeah,
so I'm
to be fair, the last like I want to say the last 4 of the penguins were actually really well hidden. Like there was one that you had, the one with the oracles. That one took me forever to figure out. Like that one was actually,
I had to look up how to do it.
Yeah, I was legitimate, like, because it was like, it's in here, and I'm like, no, it's not. I have run around everywhere.
Right. Like, I went in there and I found that first oracle right away, and I was like, okay, cool.
Right. And then, like, because there's one that, what is it? There's one that's like across the map, and then the next one's like in this corner. I'm like, God bless it.
In the crevice. Like,
oh, jeez.
You had to actually jump to the other side because it was lower and look down.
Yeah. that one. I remember getting that one, and I was like, all right, well played. Like this was a well played one. And then there's 2 penguins that you actually had to hunt down, or 3 penguins that you had to hunt down a specific enemy. One of them was actually a really fun one. It was the sniper fight. That was a really fun one.
Here's something that's gonna make Orchid side look again.
Oh no.
You can go and see the penguins yourself because there is a room right behind Varix.
Mm-hmm. Where you post it's the same as the Jade Rabbit's room.
Exactly.
You put them all around, and they can stare at you creepily.
You literally put them all around to view.
You know that there's places in the original tent that you could put trophies, right? You know that, right? There's trophies. Okay, there's trophies.
It was blinking and it was annoying, so I just did the thing so it would stop blinking at me. Yeah. Yeah.
Orchid side eye intensifies.
I knew the tent blinking stuff because I was like,
And it's actually because of the tent that I think that Elsie is actually of Indian descent. There is
because it's a yurt?
No. There is an actual reward for one of the triumphs of a picture of her and Anna children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's from that's the one where you solo the. Isn't that the one where you solo the legendary or the whatever the
Master Lost Sector,
the Nightmare Factory was?
Yeah,
that was a beast of a triumph. But yes, all right. So dreams. All right. So Audacity.
God.
See, Orchid, we're giving you content to do in the meantime. We don't want you to...
Content? Are you sure this is content? Because I'm pretty certain this is something.
No. We're giving you content for your streams.
Is it?
Go solo a 1280 legend. Go solo a 1280 Lost Sector. I promise you, it's really fun.
I have soloed a legendary Lost Sector this many times.
Yep, that's how many times I've done it. I did it the once to get the triumph, and I was like, never doing that nonsense again.
Oh, I haven't done a master. I've only done a legendary.
Oh no, the master is master higher. I thought legendary was the highest.
Yeah, master's a 1280. Legendary is a 1250.
Oh yeah, I haven't done a legend. I did the master. Because that was the triumph.
All the time.
I can't. I'm like, well, I figured out the hunter trick with I think it's falling guillotine and the orb grenades, so you can like stun them and freeze them. I'm like, oh, thank God. But yeah, the overload captains,
see, there's 2 mods in the artifact right now. Surge Eater and Thermal Overload.
Yes, you can chain for infinite grenades. I did find that one out, and and then also what is it? The
you look a little confused, Orchid.
Oh my God, it's like one of the funnest chains to do. You get infinite grenades.
So, Surge Eater says whenever you stagger a champion, when you actually break whatever they do, you get your grenade back. And Thermal Overload says if you're using a solar or stasis grenade,
you stagger a champion.
Stagger overload champions.
So
if you use Duskfield grenades, just keep chucking them at the freaking overloads.
And you get infinite grenades.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then you add, I can't remember what the mod is for the swords, but then if you get the mod that gives you bonus damage for charged with light on a sword, and you put that, you put that on every piece of armor you have, that stacks.
Wait, does it?
Yep, I have it 4 times. There is nothing in it that specifies that it doesn't stack. And so I put it on every piece of armor, and Overload champions just melt with guillotine. Like, it's just, yeah, you stagger them so that you can get close enough to them, and it's just bloop, go away. So it's the only way I made it through that lost sector. It's busted.
And see, I just go in with Lucent Blade on one piece of armor and Lament.
Yeah, I haven't tried Lament, but Blue just broke my brain.
You have to rev it, do 2 or 3 light swings, and then the heavy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so with guillotine, what you do is you do
guillotine.
Heavy.
Literally, you spin and then
do
light
5
attacks until you get it back.
Yeah, you do spin 5 lights, and then you can and the snap is that it chains heavies and lights, and so by the time you get, if you even get to the second heavy, it has chained 6 prior attacks on top of it.
Oh yeah.
It's
and
beautiful.
Sometimes the actual heavy attack will count for multiple.
Yes, yeah. Though heavies for guillotine, you can't do the spin heavy in the air, which is I found that out going up against the Hydra. I was like, I'm gonna get nope.
Because they boop you up and you're like,
So, but yes, Orchid, you can do fun things.
Yes.
It doesn't negate that Overload captains are annoying as
hell. You still have to stagger them that first time.
But that's where the Duskfield grenades help, because then you stagger them and it freezes them, so they can't run away once they're staggered.
Is that
Duskfield is the one where if you throw it, it forms the little ball. It's like a snow globe.
It's the huge blue ball.
You throw the grenade, and it's literally like it's like a dome, and like anything within the dome after like 2 seconds, it freezes.
Okay.
You have to earn that one.
Have you done any of the Born in Darkness quest? This rabbit hole just keeps getting worse.
Funny story.
It's already funny.
So Duskfield is like, is it the second one? Yeah, it's the second one you get.
Yeah.
You get the wall, which is absolutely useless for the most part, but it helps you jump. And then you get Duskfield, and then I can't remember what the Seeker one is, which is actually Cold Snap. That one's actually really good too.
Yeah.
So I have 4 of those quest thingies right now, currently in my inventory, because I grabbed 2, and then I grabbed 2 more a different week, and I'm sitting on 4 of them.
No. Those are for the fragments.
Those are for the aspects.
Okay.
Something completely
Is this
else.
different? I don't know how this game works. Is this PvP? How do you do?
I don't know what to say to this. Like, I see you on the game. I know you at least go to orbit.
How do you do PvP without like Cold Snap grenades? Because that's like the biggest one in PvP right now.
Duskfield.
Okay.
Duskfield too. Yeah.
I use Murder Beam from 50 yards back.
Okay,
and
fair
I
enough.
Everything all the way down the field. That's how I play PvP. I just wipe the field with Murder Beam and everything dies in front of me. I don't have to do shit with it. Everything's just dead. And then I cancel it and still have half of my super, and then I can just run around with my boots on and get it back really quickly. And I have my super like 4 times in one match. Because I can kill everything really easily because I have Micah and Micah Mini on. And it gives me extra super zoomy powers because I have like 100% zoomy powers. because Might Mini also makes me super zoomy, so I have extra zoomy plus zoomy powers from the 100% zoomy that I already have for my armor because I am extra zoomy, plus like all of the other fucking grenade zoomy powers, and then it's just like
Extra
that's how I play.
extra zoomies and 3-peeking.
Guys,
These are
I
Orchid secrets.
I 3-peak with
Bad Irish. You might have to do Orchid's fragments. Because they disappear next week.
Orchid secrets,
Yeah.
extra zoomies, and 3-peaking is how Orchid plays PvP.
Oh, geez. We're going to have to log in and drag you through. Yeah, because
like if you've gotten 6 bounties for the fragments, like you got to get that done before Tuesday. Otherwise, they're just getting scrapped.
Mhm.
I'm almost done with them. I just have to get like a couple more kills for one of them and like a couple more kills for another one.
Headline
and,
be like, breaking, Orchid exposes Blueberry. Uses words like zoomy power.
And see, every time she said zoomy, all I'm thinking of is like when the cats get zoomies. After they take a horrible
Black Flag is pointing out the disconnect though that I'm having because you do in-game activities.
Like what? Oh, because I
Like
have
the
because
raid
I, like, do
and-
trials and raids. Like I have like conquered.
To be fair, we've had to drag her kicking and screaming into raids. And for Nightfall Ordeals, she has Australians.
That's true. She has Australians.
So like
that's
like,
fair.
At this point, the only end game content that you're talking about is trials.
And that's
I
mostly
have my trial
scheduling.
Shirt on. I earned this shirt.
So let's
We should get started.
Orchid, you have more than earned that pin that I sent you.
Oh, the blueberry pen.
The
that you sent me
blueberry
for
seal.
Christmas? Yeah. Guys, Blue sent me a blueberry seal for Christmas. It was half an insult and half true.
I didn't realize it was half true. It was just like a funny. Apparently. All right.
It's
so
okay. If you ever watched any of Rick's streams last year when all of COVID started and we were streaming together all the time instead of just like once in a while, you would have known that I don't know how this game works until 2 weeks before the end of the season, and that is very typical every single season.
Veru, I need to come up with a
am,
cover story for the public to explain why she's still not fired.
It's because like the Warmind season, that menu was so confusing. I had to ask
that
Rick,
one
like 8 times how it worked.
I will say that once I figured out the Warmind cell build, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything else. Like this just makes sense. Like I stumbled on that. And I was like,
I don't know how that works.
Well, you basically you generate them from the weapons, and then you can spec out like what they do afterwards.
Yeah, but it's too bad that like the weapons are terrible. So
the auto rifle was pretty good.
The SMG is good.
The SMG was
good.
The auto rifle was fun.
I don't like the auto rifle. I really do actually like the shotgun and the shotgun and the SMG are good. Everything else is like, eh.
But the thing is, like, well, I like the hand cannon personally, but I'm a hand cannon guy.
I got 4 days left. At the end,
blueberry scented markers.
But no, so like, what I love doing is Power of Rasputin and Wrath of the Warmind. One says whenever you get solar splash damage kills, you're able to generate a Warmind cell. And the other one says when the Warmind cell explodes, you do solar splash damage.
You see the chain that goes on in these things.
Sometimes you have to actually go kill one enemy. But it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for the explosions.
This is like Risk Runner. Sometimes you have to step in the Vex milk, but
yes,
the chaos
Vex milk, that's the thing that's keeping me going every day when I'm using Risk Runner. I throw myself in that Vex milk.
Oh yeah, that's how you proc it to begin with, and then it's just
as
long
I
as there's
my own grenade. Is how I proc it.
Yeah, well, not all of us have the benefit of being warlocky, so.
I just throw the grenade at my feet and half kill myself with it. That's why I'm so good at killing myself with my own grenade. Like, people who've seen me play are always like, why are you so bad at grenades? I'm like, no, I'm procking myself to get ready for the runner.
No, there is an actual strategy.
Like, yeah, but if I was using it, it would have been ready.
Okay. So do you have Audacity?
Guys,
okay.
I have been exposed as a blueberry. I don't know if I can do this anymore.
You can totally.
Elvis, do you want to take my spot on Focus Fire Chat?
We're gonna just drag you through next season. You just have to use the documents that I put together because it tells you all the stuff you need to do.
Well, hey, Orchid, you jump on your Series X. I jump on my Series X. We'll be playing well enough.
Yeah, but I have this refrigerator next to my computer now. This mini fridge that is posing as an Xbox. And
I'm so upset that you are joking, but I really want that fridge.
The fridge is
right.
Cool. I don't want it to.
Like every time they post the new meme about the fridge, I'm like, I'm still waiting for you chuckle fucks to put that out there so I could buy one.
And see, even Rindle is offering.
Yeah.
And it's not like you have the other host here who only plays on Xbox.
But PC
You
is
and me
better.
both. You and me both, Blue.
I love it.
Like, everyone is at this point
virtual gravies on
to drag your ass through this shit.
But PC is better.
How?
Because mouse and keyboard is better.
You can put a mouse and keyboard on the Xbox.
Not on Destiny, you can't.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
Mm-mm.
Baby Flamin' was doing it all the time.
Yeah, because he was using something that was breaking the game. You can't actually do it.
Oh, is it not native?
Yeah.
Yeah, crossplay is coming too. So as soon as crossplay comes, then you really won't have an excuse.
Well, when crossplay comes, I'm never turning my Xbox on again.
Yeah, you are, because you'll have to play Halo with us.
Well, yeah, obviously Halo.
So, all right.
It's going to be a Halo.
Audacity.
Blue just caught you in a lie.
Well, it's going to be
Blueberry.
A Halo.
So Audacity.
Excuse you? Elvis? Fucking wow.
3, 2, 1, click.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
All right, so welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on February 5th, 2021, over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat, as we continue our discussion over the lore book, Your Friend Micah Abram. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the advanced session of the week's exploration. Congratulations to those who signed up for a deeper dive. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
This is the most blueberry to ever have blueberried. Hey, it's Orchid.
And last, but definitely not least, in the hot seat as guest co-host, we have Elemis. Elemis, how are you doing?
I don't know.
Listen, if you're listening to the podcast and you weren't present for the live stream, I really encourage you to go to the YouTube channel and look up the archive video, which will explain why, first off, there's like an hour and a half difference in the episodes recording, but there's a very long and convoluted rabbit hole that it's exploring the blueberryness of certain individuals who shall not be named. And the sabotage.
Hey, it's Orchid.
Hey, it's Orchid.
Hey, it's Orchid.
Iris just texted me a picture of blueberries. And then Orchid question mark. Thanks. I love you too. Wow.
We vetted Orchid for presidency and interesting things happened. So anyways,
thing is, this all started with me making a pun.
Oh yeah, yes, we were joking, and it came to light that certain hidden menus had not been discovered. But,
guys, the long and short of it is that I don't know how to play Destiny, and it's 4 days until the end of the season. And
it's okay. So just don't sleep, drink a lot of tea, and you'll be fine.
I don't know how to play the game. Because I only play PvP, so
that's why
I can do that.
Your perspective is important because it comes from a different side of the experience.
Apparently, sabotage things. I didn't know that was in the game. Or
so there's
fragments. I didn't know those were different. So hey.
So Orchid's otter stop, the one job she has.
I don't. Can I even do that? Am I even qualified for this anymore? You just hang up my otter outfit. Oh Christ. If you could be so kind as to visit us at thelorenetwork.com, where you can find us alongside many impressive lore content creators. We're apparently there. We've really gone downhill since Green left. Please let us know your thoughts on the weekly lore roundups, both for podcasts and for YouTube content. Also, please leave us a review over on iTunes. Please be kind. 5-star reviews really help other people to find the podcast. Let your friends know that this is a thing, and then they can listen, and I would appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you. So, real quick, I love chat
really trying
right now.
Not to laugh. I'm so sorry.
Chat is just killing me right now. Real quick, just to recap on last episode. So yeah, as Orchid mentioned, Green has stepped back from co-hosting, and she is taking on a more production/editorial role with the Focus Fire chat. She's also which is also aligning with some things that she is putting together for her own personal life going forward, which is going to be really cool. I'm really excited to see where that's going. I need to verify everything's live, and then we'll definitely be giving a shout out for that. So she will still be involved, but she is going to be she's going to be helping focus like the layout and the production side. So basically, the reason why we sound good is because of everything she's doing. Other than that, we talked about really just like the overall summary of the book. We talked the different characters, obviously, that were involved. We talked a little bit about, the difference, or not the difference, but the tensions that were existing in the Eventide area, specifically around like Cade and his interactions with Micah, the travesty of the Exo Penguins. And I think we also mentioned Micah's what's referred to as gender dysphoria, which is where Micah is the first confirmed character in the lore of Destiny to be a male who transitions into a female. He was a male human who became a female Exo. And Micah Abram is also Micah 10, who is the guardian who is referred to as the dead mother of ghosts. However, in this session, what I wanted to do is Orchid had mentioned in the intro session that she was really interested in the dream aspect that is mentioned in this lore book. And then I also wanted to get Elemis' idea or Elemis' thoughts on Hector's fate, I guess would be the best way to kind of talk about that. But so real quick before we jump into that, we'll take a real quick break, come back, and Orchid, I'll just hand it over to you, Orchid. So Orchid, dreams. Why are they important?
So dreams are important in the Destiny universe because they've used this vehicle as a way to connect people to the Traveler, because dreams are unique in the way that is how the Traveler kind of speaks to people. Because the Traveler doesn't speak, Traveler doesn't have a mouth, Traveler is just a big golf ball in the sky. So the only way the Traveler is able to convey any sort of information or emotion or anything is through dreams, really. And so the fact that Micah is having dreams kind of connected to the Traveler is special, because they don't really have that, especially later when the Traveler goes dormant. There really aren't any dreams per se, correct?
I think. Yeah, I think that would be a correct way of saying that.
Is that accurate? Yeah. Okay. But
because that was one of the things
that,
with I think
every speaker's had dreams in a certain way or visions. They come at inopportune times. These are actually dreams themselves. So we don't know if it's a message. This one happens to be the same dream over and over again. So actually in letter 7, if I can actually pull it up, it actually describes the dream really well. So if I could at least read the part where it actually talks about the dream. So Micah talks about, I still haven't figured out the message, and I've been having it every single night. It always starts the same. I'm an Exo, standing in the middle of a frozen lake under a black sky and a white moon. For some reason, I start jumping up and down over and over. Each time, I go a little higher and land a little harder. Sometimes I worry the ice might break, but then I hear a whisper saying I'll be okay even if it does. I won't let you die before the interesting part. As I jump, the whisper goes higher, higher. Or maybe it says closer, closer. Maybe it's both. Last night I went so high I almost left the atmosphere. From there I could see the moon was you, hovering above Io. I reached up to break away from gravity, and I fly to you. And then Micah wakes up because he's woken up by his father's having an argument. We actually find out in the very last entry, I believe. Where is the line? The whisper that the dreams have actually stopped at the very end, because his dad that's been working with Clovis Bray has been missing more and more of his life. And but now I haven't seen him for a whole week and my stomach won't stop hurting. What has stopped is the dream. So now that he's been having the dream, now the dream's gone, this jumping dream that he's been having. So that's significant in the fact that the dream has now ceased. So has the dream been solved? We don't know. 2 nights ago, I finally broke away from Europa's gravity. As I floated to you, the whisper followed, "Are you sure you know what you think you know?" I woke up before I got close to you, and last night I didn't dream at all, which must mean I figured out the message. But all I have are these words stuck in my head. Are you sure you know what you think you know? And so having dreams like this, we have different characters that have dreams. Like we've had the speakers, we've now had Micah, we've had Crow have had Hawk Moon dreams. Like we've actually had weird kind of light dreams in a way, or visions. And I mean, even Ikora has had traveler visions. So I mean, different characters have had different kind of visions or light visions or dreams in a certain way. So it's unique also in the fact that Micah 10 that we know later on is the dead mother of ghosts. So with ghosts and dreams, is it speaker material? We don't know.
Yes.
So that's why the dream to me is significant. And so you're getting closer and closer, higher and higher. You get this information. Do you know what you think you know? And then nothing. So we don't know. Like, what is the answer?
Though I do also like the the comment that we get about from Hector about dreams are messages from deep inside your mind. Until you figure out the message, the dream will repeat. Where he was talking to Micah about like like the dreams repeating and stuff like that. And it's also interesting because Hector is that psychologist. He's very much in tune with studies about dream analysis and stuff like that. And that's actually where we get, I mentioned this in the intro session, but that's actually where we get the connection between Micah, Abram, and Micah 10 within Legacy's Oath Grieves, because this kind of is the fuel that Micah 10 has that is pushing her to find the Deepstone Crypt. She has this like, I don't think it's ever a dream in the Grieves, but she has like this drive to find the crypt, and it's one of these things that like she's just constantly getting pushed towards. But I do find, and I know chat's talking about it right now, the connection potentially with the Red War Dream cutscene that our Guardian experienced was also an interesting kind of connection there too. Just making sure real quick. Yeah, because in the Legacy's Oath Grieves, she is talking about the dream of the golden field beneath the Black Tower. So, and then when she actually makes it to the tower, it's supposedly from the inference here, it's Hector that's sitting on the armchair that says dreams are messages from deep inside your mind. Until you figure out the message, the dream will repeat. And then she wakes up and feels something tugging her towards space. So that was the connection there. But and Orchid, I don't know, do you think that Micah was actually a speaker? Or do you think that this is a kid who's in a really tough spot having dreams about something else?
I see. We know, like with constellations, we know a little bit more about speakers, but I don't know if, I don't know. I mean, I know when they say that, like, they always look for new speakers by seeing, like, are ghosts following children around, and like that's kind of the mark of finding a new speaker, and are people having weird dreams. And but back then there weren't ghosts yet.
Correct, during the Golden Age there weren't ghosts, so they were really they relied on the communication of dreams, basically.
So I don't know, because if, like, a part of me wants to say yes and a part of me wants to say no, because I think a part of it could be that, this kid is in a really tough spot because, one parent is really stressed and working all the time. Like, Micah obviously misses being on Mars and is kind of replacing the parents' love with all these freaking penguins that, like, he's rescuing from school because, Clovis Bray doesn't know how to replace love with anything else but penguins, which is weird. Vex penguins.
No.
LMS Exo Penguins.
The Exo Penguins, I'm
No.
telling you. It's
Dead
it's
penguins
trial
that have
trial by
Vex
error.
parts.
Trial by error.
Yeah.
That's how every scientific progress is done.
Yep.
Like, I accept it, but no.
Us all the busted penguins just all go to the kids, and for safekeeping. They have DER too, so they have to be fed like penguins and they treated like penguins, and no. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to love you here. Have a penguin.
Yeah, except the penguins are from Clovis, not the parrots. Like, to be fair, like.
Well, I mean, Clovis doesn't know how to love people either.
Oh,
so
you know,
here, have a penguin.
100%. Yes,
You are
that's-
100%. Yeah.
that is a great, accurate statement. But
Yeah. So I mean,
Clovis doesn't know how to love anybody but himself.
no. Yeah.
and even then, I'd argue I don't know if he even knows how to do that. Like, but
Right.
well, and Veru has a good point too. Is given the proximity to the darkness and Europa, or could it be the dreams of the speakers are maybe from the darkness and not the traveler? Like, I can see that argument there, right? Because they're both paracausal entity. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why couldn't it be both?
Yeah.
Because the traveler is as far as we understand it, a paracausal entity. Clarity is a paracausal entity. I mean, it could be the situation where, they are communicating. It's a competition of communication, I guess. Oh, yes, and Black Flag is also pointing out back in D1 we did have the Ghost Fragment Legends card, which is when we first learned about the dream of the Dark Tower or the Black Tower. I mean, yeah, and it's possible that this is a card that is from Micah's perspective. That being said, I will also put in the counter argument that Saint 14 references this dream, and I think Cade I know there's another Exo that references this dream. I can't remember if it was Cade or if it was an unnamed Exo. But there's been a couple different Exos that have mentioned the dream. But yes, Micah and Saint are the ones that come to mind immediately. Saint has the vision of a woman saying something about how they're not like their father, and then Micah has the dream with the two men who step out. One meets her in the field, and then the other is sitting inside the tower.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another dream that's very important in the Destiny story. Is the dream of the golden field, or the black plain of golden millet.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that there were two men in that dream, right?
Yes, in Micah's dream, there's the one where, hang on real quick. Sorry, that is referred to on Legacy's Oath Greaves. Give me a second, pull it up. It says she's dreamt of it thousands of times, fought thousands of battles on the golden field beneath the Black Tower. In every 50th instance, in the midst of the chaos, an older man puts a paternal hand on her shoulder and says, "You just need to get acclimated. It's colder here than on Mars." Every 100th time, she makes it to the tower and finds a different man sitting in an armchair writing on a notepad. "Dreams are messages from deep inside your mind," he reminds her. "Until you figure out the message, the dream will repeat." And then it goes on. Every single time, no matter whom she sees or what she hears, Micah 10 wakes up feeling something in her tug towards space.
I'm wondering if the two men are both her fathers.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I was.
Yeah.
I think the first one is it Papa? Is the quantum? I always flip them. Yeah. Papa is the quantum engineer, is the one that meets her out in the field, because Papa was the one that got her and Hector to come to Europa, and he's the one that had the beard that made the comment about Hector will grow one when he figures out how warm it will be. And then Hector is the reason I think it's Hector inside the tower is because he's sitting in an armchair writing on a notepad talking about dreams. Like it's like that's a very stereotypical psychoanalyst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Veru, that idea that's dangerous. So Veru is saying in chat, what if the dream with the field of golden millet and the tower was just one of the speaker dreams that got unintentionally mass-produced through the exo processing?
Ooh.
I mean, that goes into the debate of like how the mind or how the memory banks are created for the exos, and if there's any potential for bleed through, which I mean, from a data standpoint, there's always that potential. But
yeah,
oh man, which would also go in line with the idea I think that we were talking about in the first episode with, that's that. I was going to make that comment here in a second. But that would go back to the idea of Clovis's hallucination of Maya being another thing that gets fit into it, which would explain Cade's fascination with Maya. But yeah, and then Veru just made a point. So Clovis is raising a personal army of speakers, whether it's willingly or unwillingly. Like there's these consequences of dispersing this mental profile, I guess would be the best way of saying it. Oh geez, yeah, that's well. It's so funny because I just watched Kyrgyzstan. It's a YouTube channel, and they had a an episode that they did in tandem with Cyberpunk 2077, where they took the idea of digitizing a human mind, and they were talking about like what it would actually take to digitize, a human brain, and like the very first question is like, okay, so let's say you digitize a human brain. Is that the same as digitizing a human mind? Like there's this endless debate of, is the mind just the brain, or is it the context of like, the entirety of the human person? But yeah, so like, I'm thinking like, given how the digitization process of the exo, oh gosh, man, that's a rabbit hole that my head is going to go down now. Thank you, Veru, for putting me down another rabbit hole. Veru is very bad about that one. Yeah, the ghost Braytech theory. Yeah. That's well, and actually talking about weird braid tech things, I think I'll use that as kind of a jumping point, to kind of go into this idea of like Hector as an exo, and like, so Hector, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up is we mentioned Hector is the one who basically reports Clovis Bray, or he's one of the ones, but we actually have a copy of the report from Hector in, I think it's the Last Flight Home, which I need to go back, and I want to go back and try to figure out, there's a lot of redacted parts of it, and I'm curious if I can figure out which redacted thing is talking about. But basically Hector he finally has enough, basically, of all this nonsense that Clovis is doing. And it comes to a head with a test unit C21, which is where he hears about and then walks in on Clovis testing stasis out on an exo, but he's like puppet mastering the exo in this like really weird thing. And that kind of seems to be the final straw that pushes Hector to the point where either he tries to run or he at least sends a report. And then the next thing that we hear from Hector is as Hector 6, which is an exo. I'm like, well, that's convenient, because one of the things that exos do is they don't really remember their past. Like, so I was wondering, Elmist, if you had any thoughts on like, is that like Clovis covering up a whistleblower, or is that like what is?
Absolutely. Just add it to the entire
Oh
pile
yeah,
of human rights violations.
It's
like,
so sus.
It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, in the scope of everything else that Clovis has done, that we know he has done,
This is like the least worst
yeah,
of his
that's
time.
what I was like, this is nothing.
Yeah. No, like this,
Chat. Yup.
like there's no question about it. I mean, this is Clovis just taking matters into his own hands.
I mean, so like, I guess, so where, because as far as I remember from this book, Hector is still human at the end, right? Like, he's like, Micah is, I think at the very end, Micah's last thing is basically he's going to sneak off because, what was it? Was it I can't remember which one of his parents was basically, it was like, we had enough. Was it Hector?
I believe it was Hector.
Yeah, dad. Okay, this morning Papa's told me that, but soon he'll get a break. Yeah, because that was the whole dream of, are you sure you know what you think you know? And like, that's why I was asking Orchid. That's why I was asking, do you think it's a communication from the Traveler or Clarity or whoever, or is it? Do you think he's like internalizing a lot of this nonsense that he's hearing between his two parents fighting? Because I also kind of, the way I was reading this is I read Hector as being the person who he's spending more time at work because he's basically building a case against Clovis. That's how I was reading it. Like, he's getting all this information and he's like basically prepping this whole thing.
Yeah.
He's, and then because I think dad, air quote, is the one that's leaving. Gosh, man, I can't find, I think it's not in letter 9. I think it might be. I think it's letter 8.
I think it is. I think it's towards the end.
Yeah, it's letter 8. Letter
8.
8. Yeah. He said some colonists were going home with the next supply ship and he hoped Papa would join us. So yeah, Hector is the one that's getting ready to leave. Which basically is, I kind of took as like, this is when he was getting the report ready to send to kind of sneak out, basically.
Yeah. And like that's how I'm seeing it, is Hector is suffering through working alongside Clovis, and just gathering all the kinds of different evidence in order to actually try and do something to Clovis. And then the next thing we see is Hector 6. Like, if he saw all the evil that Clovis was doing, he wouldn't offer himself as an Exo.
Right. Well, especially because all the evil stuff that he's doing is to Exos.
Right. Right. So that leads me to believe that it was forced upon him.
And I get like, I mean, depending on how dark you want this headcanon to go, the argument that the two have, depending on how much of a cult this is, it's like, did his partner turn him in?
Ooh.
Because
that's really good.
Well, and the reason I'm asking that, and the reason is because the argument that they made. So Hector says, you know, basically if Clovis wants stable and so there's a lot of different layers that actually lead up to this. Hector, first off, Hector is called out as being one of Clovis Bray's closest confidants, which makes me think that he is also probably basically one of Clovis's counselors. Like he is basically the person that Clovis kind of unloads and vents to, is kind of what I kind of took as. But then in letter 8, the argument between Hector and his husband is basically Hector is saying if Clovis wants stable and functioning soldiers, he shouldn't put them through so much trauma. He's basically arguing, if you want me to look at these people as human, if you want me to treat an Exo as a human, then what happens is they have rights. Like, you know, that's they if they are human, they are human. They're not tools, because if they're tools, then they're not, like, you know, they're not there's not a line, there's not a sliding scale on this. Like, it's either you have human rights or you don't have human rights. But then his husband responds with, skip the ethics lecture and tell me, if you knew humanity would be wiped out in 50 years, wouldn't you try anything to save us, to save our child? And I'm like, okay. And then he goes on, he says, Papa says, this DER stuff is hard, but I think the humanisms you suggested are the solution. In fact, I bet my life on it. And then Hector responds with, you know, I love you, but forget about being safe in 50 years. Micah needs to be safe here and now. And then he goes on to say, that's when he says, you know, some of the colonists are going home, and he hopes that his husband would join them. And so, but then Micah, you know, that's when Micah stops listening. But it's like the argument that I hear about, like, this whole concept of, like, skip the ethics lecture, you know, the ends justify the means. I'm like, I have this grain of, like, I'm like, oh no, is this something that, like, he's trying, air quotes, trying to help everybody by, you know, not, I don't think that he did it with the intent of, like, I'm going to punish you. I think he was like, no, Hector's trying to leave. He might have told, you know, it was one of those innocent things of, like, hey, Hector's trying to leave. And then Clovis, being the megalomaniac paranoia person that he is, was like, nope. Like, you don't get to leave.
Well, and even then, like, I don't think that Micah's, you know, Papa would have actually reported directly to Clovis.
Right.
I think it's more of like, he was just talking to a coworker about a fight that the two of them had, and then it went up the chain, or Clovis happened to overhear it.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, and I mean that's the thing is, like, I see it. I see it as completely not a malevolent, even, like,
no.
I don't see it as malevolent from his sense, but I do see the catalyst for Hector's conversion, if you will, being something from this guy. Like, which given the whole scope of, like, the trauma that is going on with the Bray storyline, would actually fit in quite well. It would fit in with the overarching theme very well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go read The Dark Future. Anna and Elsie have a bit of trauma that they need to work. They need to work through some. They need to let go of some things.
Just a little bit.
There is no Olaf in that story. Or, well, maybe there is. Maybe Zavala is Olaf.
No, it's Cade.
No, because Cade's not there. Olaf, he's got the stick, because he's got a cane.
Oh.
Oh, Red is Olaf. Okay, that's fair. Do you want to build a war mind? That's an acceptable thing.
Do you want to build a war mind?
There you go.
Every single time you say Olaf, I immediately think of snowman from Frozen every single time. It does not matter.
Yeah. Olaf, because it's
Anna
and Elsie.
That was the point.
Anna and Elsie, they need to build a war mind. Or an Exo in this case.
Irish says it doesn't have to be a war mind.
It doesn't have to be a war mind. Do you want to bury some bodies?
Do you want? Yeah, I do, actually.
Have you heard that version of the song? It's amazing. So anyways, but yeah, that was kind of I was curious to hear your guys' thoughts on Hector, because it's one of those things that's been bugging me. It's like, okay, so Hector is here, and then Hector, like he has the issue within Icefall Mantle, which is basically him walking in on C-21.
The stasis experience.
And then, as far as I can tell, basically the next thing is Last Flight Home, which is the report. Now, to be fair, it's on the ship, but we never get confirmation that Hector was ever on a ship. Like, so we don't know that Hector actually ever got off the planet. And the reason why I emphasize that is because the next thing that we hear from Hector is in Legacy's Lament, when we get Hector 6. And the only reason that is, like, the only reason I kind of connect that Hector with this Hector Abram is because when you find the Exo that is connected to Hector 6's entry, it specifically calls out the fact that he has a son. So, do you want to become a Luca?
And referring to the actual ship, like, we don't even know if that letter actually made its way off world.
Which I'm really sad, but yeah, we don't know if it was I think it was,
like, for all we know, Hector could have done something stupid and wrote it on a company laptop.
That's or not even written it on electronics. Like, it could have been a physical document.
Yeah,
because it doesn't have a header on it.
Especially relating it back to Micah's dream. Like, he's actually writing on a tablet.
He's actually like, that's what he's. Oh, I didn't even connect. Oh, that'd be even more traumatic.
This could have been
that would be even more traumatic. Like, Micah was present when they took him.
Oh.
See, this is the rabbit hole of how dark of a theory do we want to go into this thing? Like, how traumatic.
Oh. We just turned a happy little book into, like.
I mean, to be fair, it's not super happy. Let's be fair there,
but like,
there is potential for this to be very dark. There's potential for this book to lead into something very dark.
I mean, it was happier than I. Oh.
I liked that the high point of these two episodes is the concept of Exo Penguins. And that was where it started. That's where it started going downhill. That's just a theory, a Destiny theory.
No.
Oh man, I mean, I didn't even think about that too. That's a good connection. Is the Hector sitting in the tower writing on the tablet could be potentially him writing the letter that's in Last Flight Home.
Right. Because, like, for all we know, Hector could have been gathering evidence. Clovis found it.
Oh, no, you know what? The letter is a letter of resignation. It's his letter of resignation. So that's right.
Oh.
So he sent the letter of resignation, and then I think I'm trying to remember. There was a point where I think he mentioned that he was going to, like, either he was going to turn something in, or he was advising that, you know, basically this was He says to describe what I've witnessed would be a gratuitous exercise in horror, but I fear without clear circumstantial accounts there will be no action. And then that's when he goes into like one of the examples of like basically this young man was basically downloaded with the intent of being tested on, basically, was what it kind of was. Because he says the brain was scanned beyond legal standards and his exposure to radiation incited the accelerated growth of a tumor that impaired his cognitive function. He was morbid and should have been released from the experiment, and instead was basically Clovis insisted this was a small hurdle and the test subject had been our most lucrative candidate, so all efforts went to the removal of the tumor. And that's when he started subjecting the test subject to radiolarian fluid. And then he ends it with, this is one case of hundreds. Past dictators have committed blank and that pale in comparison, and this was never anything more than a quest for his own ego and blank. I fear that this is only the beginning. It is a tame display compared to what blank is capable of. It is paramount you act quickly and decisively. The experiments will lead to large-scale ruin far beyond your rope, but the price is too high. Okay, so yeah, this was a letter that was internal. So this was his resignation, but the implication is basically you're transgressing on human rights. This is beyond legal means. And this was the thing that made me think about the whole Papa turning him in. He says when he landed on Eventide, he quickly discovered his endeavor was less of a colony and more of a cult. You were either with him or against him. I was once his closest confidant. Now I hardly recognize him. So that was where the idea of like the black and white, you don't betray. It's very, very, you don't betray us because if you don't agree with us, you're against us. You are the enemy type of thing, which is when you tie the cult feeling into the argument of skip the ethics lecture and tell me comment. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Man, this is such a dark hole. Like this is
Clovis Bray just leads to darkness in more than one way of meaning that. Like, yes, it leads to darkness, but also the darkness of like, I know for a large percentage, like the Golden Age is a lot of the times the Golden Age was pointed to being like a utopia, and in a lot of ways it was like the Pacific arcology, the advances of Ishtar. There was a lot of stuff that was good. The curing of diseases and stuff like that. But as with everything humanity does, there's a darker side to things, and I think this is kind of pointing to that underbelly, I guess, would be. It's not really an underbelly, but it's like the darker side of progress is sometimes glossed over because everyone's so focused on, oh, hey, look, we can become immortal. It's like, yeah, but what did that take? Like, what did that progress require?
Yeah, I think Dancing Vero in chat says it best. The less transparency there is, the more utopian things look on paper.
Mm-hmm. When you don't look beneath the surface, as long as you don't scratch it too hard, it's a really pretty picture.
What are you talking about? It's gold. Don't scratch it.
That's not an exotic engram. That's a common.
Oh God.
Calling back to the original. What was that? First it wasn't Dawning technically. It was the Christmas, like one of the first Christmases in Destiny. Raul. Even then, he had a sense of humor about giving us burnt edges.
Yeah.
Did you do it? We acquired immortality. What did it cost? Everything. So yeah, I mean, now that we're in the proper grimdark of Destiny lore, final thoughts on the book. Actually, yeah, I do want to say that I like Veru's perspective here. He says I like to see the Golden Age as a house of cards that collapsed, like playing off the concept of collapse, but also I think that is a really good way of seeing the progress that the Golden Age represented. It was a palace that was very fragile because it was a gift that was given, and as with a lot of things, if you misuse it, it breaks itself. It was one of those things. And I think that when you start, like you were saying, when you start scratching the surface, like even here in this book, you start seeing things that are much darker than you initially thought, I think would be the easiest way. But I don't know. That's just my initial thoughts.
No, like that's a fair thing to say, because I mean, I initially read the book and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, the worst thing that happens is they fight. The two dads fight. Analyzing it the way we have, I'm gonna need some antidepressants.
Yay, cults! It's Orchid, what about you? Did I ruin your dream analysis?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the book is, looking at it the way you did, you made it super depressing. So, thanks. Cool.
I try. Every now and then I succeed.
Mine way better.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and to be fair, that being said, I think that it's good to remember that my interpretation is just, it's just my interpretation. It's just as valid as yours or Elements. Like that's my opinion on it.
Right.
And I'm using connections on other entries, but to be fair, as with a lot of things in reality, we are only seeing very fine slices of these different stories. So it could be completely innocent, and I hope that everything turns out great and happy for Micah, and it doesn't.
Well, no, like, it doesn't in the first life, but it does in her second life.
Right. Yeah.
Well, third life.
I mean,
third,
11th
yes.
life?
I don't...
12th?
Oh, gosh, yeah, because how many... It would be 11. It would be 11th.
It would be 11th, yeah.
Micah 10 when she dies, and then she's resurrected.
Because Micah 1 would end up being...
Micah 2.
First Exo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, her 12th life.
12th life. Yes. My brain hurts. Yes, that's correct.
Either way.
In short, Orchid's response is, thanks. I hate it.
Yeah.
I think she's still mad at us about the sabotaging.
Yeah, I mean, it's not... It comes across as an innocent book, but going by what the theme of the entire season is, which is, oh my God, Bungie, are you okay?
Do you need to talk about this?
We need to send somebody to all of your houses to check on you. Because that is the theme of this season. It's you've been locked in your homes too long. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I do, yeah, Veru, he says that this book also gives an idea of why Kate is the way he is. You know, I think he knew he might look terrifying to Ace, so he overcompensates with humor. And, you know, that's where you get this deep dive into gallows humor. You know, we always looked at Kate as having gallows humor to be a way of kind of coping with the trauma that he has gone through, which, I mean, it could still be, that could definitely be part of it, but I also see that being a case too, is that that's his way of connecting with others, is he sees the fear that he causes as an exo, and he tries to downplay it. Basically, he tries to make himself more approachable that way.
Yeah. Oh man,
I think we've beaten this book to death.
Black Flag's accurate summary of Orchid. Thanks. I won't play it.
It's not that I won't play it. It's that I didn't know it was there.
That's slightly fair. That's because actually the sabotage missions are kind of hidden. Like, they are kind of hidden. And if you don't go to Varric's a lot, like,
I don't want his weird chattering ASMR stuff.
But how else are you going to get to listen to him sing? He has such a beautiful singing voice.
No, what?
He sings Savathun's song.
Does he?
Yep. And then he talks about how it was the song of the whirlwind. And on that note,
What?
Shout out time.
What?
Have you not heard about that? Have you not heard about that? Yeah, he talks about how it was a song about the whirlwind, and then he proceeds to sing the Savathun song.
So that's Shadowkeep song?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He hums it and then talks about how it's cheese? He hums it and then talks about how it was a song that spoke about what happened during the whirlwind.
Oh, okay.
Because we needed that connection to drive things home.
Right.
I mean, cool.
So, shout outs for the advanced session. Ellimist, what you got for us?
Shout out to antidepressants.
You're welcome.
Right.
Ellimist did not know he was getting into a conversation about exofied penguins or childhood trauma.
That was one of the worst of it. That was some of the worst of it. Like, what?
I'm just glad that someone was as broken as Green was when we presented this theory to her.
Like, I understand it. I'm behind it. But no!
Orchid, what about you?
Fury with chat is saying, I can't wait for the next Guardians of Lore session with Ellimist, now knowing about Orchid's Destiny endgame content.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going in our This Week in Guardians of Lore.
This week at Guardians of Lore, Orchid doesn't know how to play Destiny. She only plays PvP. Everyone knows this. Like, this isn't new.
Zoomy Zoom. God. The Zoomies.
Oh, man.
PvP in dungeons.
I never said that. We pretend I sound intelligent once in a while.
No, we
PvP in dungeons. That's all I do, guys.
We pretend a lot.
Pretend. Wow.
It's like meeting a loved one again after learning they're a flat earther. I'm going to give a shout out to Veru for keeping me like constantly entertained during chats.
Thanks, Veru. Hey, I'm going to shout out Dead Man because he's just here to troll me. He's one of my Australians. Hi, sweetie.
Oh,
He takes me through endgame content.
We can give you some
stuff to tell you.
We have
He's
stuff
one of
to
the
tell
ones that
you.
helped me get Conquer.
Oh, Dead Man, do we have stuff to tell you?
So before we tell Deadman that, I'm going to let everyone on the podcast go. Say thank you for your time. Till next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer. Stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring. So, Deadman.
So,
apparently
Orchid... No, I'm going to let this record a little bit. So apparently Orchid is a blueberry when it comes to PvE content, period.
He knows this, though. This is nothing
No,
new.
but this is, I mean, Orchid, you even have to admit, this is more than
level.
just...
Please tell me more. Shit.
This is a whole other level.
Fuck.
So, Deadman, do you know what the sabotage missions are with Varix?
Dead Man, don't answer. My backpack is very big. I know it is because I go in it all the time.
Okay, Deadman knows. So, you're a step ahead of Orchid.
Finish them week one, as most of us did, right? Like, it's...
Right.
Yeah.
Aside from all the time gating.
Yeah, as soon as they came available, right.
But, like...
You should talk to Orchid about them.
That puts you ahead.
You are 3 months ahead of Orchid.
All this being said, we do love you, Orchid.
I didn't know they were there, okay?
Well, and see, this all, the best part about all this is it started with a joke, and then Orchid's like, wait, what? And we're like, no, wait, heck, wait, what? Like, backing up. And then it just kept getting worse. Like, well, then we started talking about the
salted double chalk is delicious. Oh, I haven't had that one yet.
It was like we were trying to dig a small little hole, and then all of a sudden we fell into a grave. We dug a little deeper, and we fell into a cave. It just kept getting worse.
Ask Orchid about her hunter. I'm pretty sure the
ask Orchid about her hunter.
Face tells everything about that.
A bit, yeah. So, Orchid, about this hunter.
Until we found a whole hidden civilization underground that actually had been pulling the strings on the surface.
Yeah. What about it?
What am I not supposed to ask you about?
I don't have the magpie yet. That's
the what?
That is Dead Man is correct. That's my hunter is my backpack for all of my weapons.
Oh.
That's
where she keeps all
warlock.
her. Yeah, I was about to say that's pretty much.
I mean that's also
my other
Titan.
two characters.
My Titan is also my backpack for all of my weapons. I did play on my hunter a little bit this season. I played PvP on it, and then I realized I don't have the magpie yet, so then I played a little bit on it to try to get the thingy to make it through the magpie. Then I realized I had to do the entire story on it, and I was like, ugh.
What's the magpie?
The shatter dive. It's called magpieing.
Oh.
Wait. So you got shatter dive, but
No.
not the rest of. Okay. Okay. I was about to get.
Elemis is like, how? How did you?
I was about to get frustrated.
Dancing was right there with you. I like that. I actually like Shatter Dive. That's a lot of fun. I constantly get myself in trouble with it though because I always am like, I'm gonna hit you. It doesn't do damage. It does eliminate the buckiness of the Warden of Nothing strike though, with the elevator that likes booping you out of existence at the end when you're going to the boss.
Yeah.
You can just Shatter Dive down the elevator as a hunter, and it completely does not kick you out. It's really nice.
Oh.
Blackfight, you feel cheated? We are friends and I've been misled. How have you been misled?
I don't think, yeah, I was good. Yeah, have you been misled?
How, though? I'm wondering how you've been misled.
The writing is on the
These
wall.
Tim Tams are really good, by the way.
The writing is on the wall. She only does PvP.
Yeah, but I mean, but that goes back to my...
I'm literally wearing a trial shirt.
But that goes back to the whole thing of, like, you have an entirely new subclass, but then she explained the Zoomy Zoom, so...
I know I called it the Zoomy Zooms, okay? Like...
I mean, it makes sense. I understood what you were talking about. Like, I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Oh, no, she only talks while in orbit. This is true, actually. I only talk while I'm in orbit.
That's fair.
That's actually pretty accurate. Last time I played Destiny on stream, we did the Hawk Moon mission. We did the Hawk Moon mission like twice maybe, and we played some PvP and did like one strike, and then sat in orbit the rest of the time and like talked about lore and like looked at the store. I main the orbit. That's what viewer says. That's true. I main orbit. Market orbit main.
Oh man. That was a horrible hole to go down.
You love going down holes, though.
Not when I get lost in them.
Still done more content on her orbit main than her actual characters.
You're not wrong. Apparently.
Rindle, I can always find the hole.
Like in Manifold Guard?
Manifold Guard, oh fuck.
Yeah, Orchid, what is an inside hole?
Rindle has some words for you on this.
Hold on.
I'm just curious, what is an inside hole?
Hold on, I have the clip.
Oh no, I watched the clip.
No, this is a better clip.
Okay. Because I was like, I watched the clip. It didn't
This one's
answer
longer.
any questions.
This one's longer. It does answer the question.
Orchid
Okay,
is
that
having
actually does answer.
Oh God!
Does
I'm
it answer the
terrified.
question of what the inside hole is?
It does. You still had problems finding it.
Yeah, I did have problems finding it. Do you see why? Like, Manifold Garden is an insane game. It's super fun. Like, if you've never played it before, you should definitely play it. You think, like, the hexahedron room in Prophecy makes me sick? Oh no. That is like fucking easy game for babies sick compared to Manifold Garden. But then she found the hole straight away, lights on and everything. Of course he did. It's because Senshi has the power of the mustache.
Man.
You should always know where the hole is. I got turned around, all right? We were trying to get the ball down the shaft. I know,
This is
okay.
just like the rabbit hole we went down. It keeps getting better.
I know it sounds weird. We were trying to get the ball down the shaft, so we were trying to turn the world around to get the ball to move. And then I couldn't find the hole to get back to the inside hole because I kept trying to turn the world when I was outside. So then I would just like fly through the world instead of being inside because I'm an idiot. Orchid needs a penguin plushie. Yeah. Orchid has a snack plushie that was gifted to her by Razor. Orchid was struggling to get the ball down the shaft. I was.
Usually they're at the base of the shaft.
Well, no, this was inside the shaft, so I'm a little bit worried for the shaft itself. And we were really like wrenching that shaft around.
On that note, I need to go for the night because I gotta get up and work tomorrow.
Oof.
Innuendo increasing. Oh God. This whole fucking conversation. Oh. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Jesus Christ. This entire
Night
chat.
stream.
Night stream, I love you.